I have other streams of income, which is exciting. And I got an interesting question yesterday that's like, having so many streams of income, does it distract you from your actual business? But I don't necessarily think so, because and what I teach my students is you can diversify your income streams without it necessarily being a business that takes away 100% of your time. So my real estate, my Airbnbs, my car on Turo, these are things that make money, not necessarily the same amount that my business makes, but these are things that make an extra $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 a month that don't take away my time, but that I was able to leverage my business and the business credit I received to do. I was able to purchase Airbnbs. I was able to purchase a car. I was able to put vending machines out there. And I think that's really key. So even if, and God forbid, there's ever a slow season in my business, it's not my only egg in the basket. And I think that's really important, is to always have something going on the side, just in case. Because even with a business, one stream of income is too close to none, whether it's a job, a business, anything. You just always have to be ready.
So the dreamers have been very, very vocal about the one thing that they care more than anything else is how to earn more money, side hustle. And so do you have like any side hustle that you would recommend that someone can get started with less than $1,000?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So several things you can start with less than 1,000. I started this business with $1,200, so not too far off. And these are some things, for example, online. So you can start selling physical products through drop shipping, which is essentially where you're just the middleman between the supplier and the customer. And these can be things like mugs, notebooks, shirts. I mean, just so many different things that you can start selling with really no money out of your pocket, except for whatever it costs to design a website. That's one great option that a lot of my students have done. As well, a vending machine. Vending machines cost anywhere from $1,000 to maybe $1,500. That can be something that you start finding a location near you, like an apartment complex or a school, a hotel. These are great places where you're going to get a lot of traffic to start earning money. I would also say digital products, taking what you know how to do, your skills, whatever you're doing in your 9 to 5, any accomplishments you've achieved in your own life, and packaging that up and monetizing it. I think a lot of people don't realize, but right now, your job is the middleman, right? Between you and providing whatever service or product to the marketplace. You do it through your job. So you can do it outside of your job, because people still need whatever that service or product is, but you can decide to just give it directly to that consumer without necessarily going through the middleman of a job. And I think when people see it that way, they realize, wow, there is a demand for my skill set, for my knowledge, for my expertise. I just need to package it up and provide it to them. And now I keep the lion's share of the income versus only being paid what my job says I deserve to be paid. And so that's what I did. When I started my business, I didn't have any particular skills in terms of coding or website design, but I did know a lot about business, having worked in a startup and for American Express. And so I said, okay, what I did was valuable for those companies. So I'm sure it's going to be valuable to an individual business owner. I just need to get them to notice me and to find me. And that was through digital products. So that costs much less than $1,000, and you can monetize yourself.
And so how do you go about figuring out which of your skills would be appealing to your target customer?
So I always advise my students, especially in my signature program, to make a list. So you start by making a list of what do you know how to do? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? What transformations have you experienced? What achievements or accomplishments have you experienced? And so you've got this list of maybe 10 or 12 things, depending on what you decide to write down. Then you want to look at, of those 10 or 12 things, what 3 or 4 could you really see yourself being most interested in and really consistently show up for every single day? Then from that list, you want to start doing market research. So you can go to websites like Glassdoor. You can look on websites like answerthepublic.com. You can go on Reddit or Quora. You want to get a sense of what kinds of questions are people asking about this particular topic. So let's say it's yoga or Pilates. what types of questions are people asking about this? What's the content that's already being produced around this? What are the offers or the packaged products or services that are already around this particular topic? And where can I fit in? And based on the demand that you see, based on the types of questions you see being asked, based on that market research, that can really inform which one you decide to launch. So I was good at a lot of different things like sales and leadership and marketing and all of this. But ultimately, I found that there was the biggest interest in my skill set around funding of a business and business credit and understanding how businesses could get an American Express card, for example. That's how you really make that decision of where to start, is you let the market dictate, and that's how you end up getting to profit a lot faster.
It's very interesting. I think it made me think about my journey as an entrepreneur and what I thought I was going to do and what I'm doing today. And I think it really goes to show that you just have to be open, right? You can't just be so
Yeah.
set in stone in terms of how you are going to go to market, because like you said, whatever you want to do or whatever the product that you have, that might not be what people want from you. So you have to still be open and listen.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that. You've got to be open. And I think what I've realized in my business is it's not about me. It's about me in that I'm the brand, but when it comes to serving and creating products, it's really not about me. It's about what my audience needs. It's about what problems are they facing that I need to solve. And that's really business. You always have to be looking at what new problems are arising that I need to solve in my related niche or industry. And when you keep that focus, sales, you could never not make money because you're always in tune with how your audience is changing, what new needs they have, and then cultivating products and services and experiences to meet them where they're at.
There's just this one last thing I want to talk to you about, because you mentioned
Yeah.
you were doing Airbnbs, right? So Airbnbs as a side hustle. Can you tell me about how you got started, how much you had to put in on your first Airbnb, and how this whole corporate lease thing works?
Absolutely. So my first corporate lease Airbnb is in Houston, Texas. I still have it there. Now I have a few others in Houston and Atlanta and then out of the country. But with Airbnbs, I think a lot of people think you have to own property in order to start, and you don't. You can absolutely form a business entity and partner with these landlords and these larger property management companies and say, hey, I own a short-term rental business. We specialize in creating short-term housing places for travel nurses or CEOs or traveling executives. We would love to partner with you and utilize your space as a short-term rental location. And so the reason that that works, and the reason why a lot of my students get the yes to that corporate lease, is because these landlords want to fill their vacancies. There's unfortunately, a lot of people who haven't been able to pay rent for several years due to COVID and just varying circumstances. So when they see an opportunity to partner with a business like yours, and you're going to make sure the rent to them is paid, and you handle all other ends of the check-in, check-out process of Airbnb. So I think what it cost for me was the first and second month of rent are usually what's due. So that's going to be about $3,000 to $4,000 upfront, which you can use business credit to do. And then you furnish the unit. Now, furnishing can cost anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000, but I always recommend to my students to rent the furniture. So renting, you end up paying a lot less out of pocket, and it gives you a little less to worry about because if you decide to move, you can just send the rental furniture back. So that's another great way to cut costs. And right now, with how many travel nurses are going back and forth all the time, and people are starting to travel more than they have in the last 3 years, my students are listing their units and getting booked within the first week. So it really is a great way to get into the business, make some money without necessarily having the burden of owning a whole property or having to worry about fixing something or building something.